This is the iPad A16. The Lenovo is fine, but the iPad is way brighter. Yeah, this form factor is timeless. It is also the same form factor as, I want to say, the iPad Pro 2018. Alright, what's up? So we are here today, we are in-house, and we are taking a look at something we haven't looked at in quite a while, something that I haven't owned in quite a while. We're looking at an Apple iPad. I had a 2017 iPad Pro. Today, we're taking a look at a modern iPad. This is the iPad A16. Everyone's just referring to it as iPad A16 because it's powered by the A16, is it the A16 Bionic or is it A16? Hold on, let me look at this. So yeah, it is powered by the A16 chip, just the normal A16. Similar to the chip here on my iPhone 14 Pro. What chip does the iPhone 14 Pro use? So once again, Siri lets me down, so we're gonna go to Bing. What processor does the iPhone 14 Pro use?
The iPhone 14 Pro uses the A17 Bionic chip, which is Apple's custom designed processor. It's known for its power and efficiency, geared towards enhancing performance and battery life. Pretty impressive tech.
I agree. I was wrong. It does not use the same chip as my iPhone 14 Pro. But yeah, iPad A16. Cool thing is, the baseline for iPads is no longer 64 gigabytes, 128 gigabytes. So that's kind of cool. Taking a look here at something I just haven't really looked at since, 2022. I think that's when I got rid of my iPad Pro. Nothing wrong with the iPad, it's just that ever since I moved it up back into Apple Silicon with the M3 Pro here, just really hasn't been a need to really use an iPad in my opinion. I mean, I have a Android tablet right here. This is the Lenovo M9. That seems to work okay-ish. It gets the job done when I want something here in my hand that I can hold to browse the web, check on social media, consume content. But, you know, never say never in terms of getting an iPad. This is not my iPad. This is actually Sheila's iPad. So I got to take very good care of it. But yeah, so here we go. So of course it's got, you know, all that eco-friendly junk that Apple is known for, and she's already opened this thing up. I'm just re-experiencing how it is to open an iPad. So let's see. So it looks like it does come with one of these guys, a USB-C charging block, which is, I'm getting old, I can't see. Flashlight on.
Flashlight on.
Yes, I can see that. 20-watt charging block. Put you back in your house there, and it comes with a nice braided USB to USB cable. So, cool thing about this iPad is that it now is USB-C only. So, Lightning is well on its way out. It's already dead on the iPhones, I believe. It looks like it's going to be now dead on the iPads. I don't believe there are any more iPads that utilize the Lightning connector, which is a good thing. And, well, now USB-C is the, well, for better or for worse, the de facto standard. There are definitely times when the USB-C connector is amazing, it's great, it's awesome, and then there's also a lot of times when it's an absolute cluster. Some devices on USB-C work with USB-C to C. Other ones you need USB-A to C to get that 5-watt connection, power, handshake thing, whatever. I don't understand it. I don't dig it sometimes. But yeah, USB-C to C, nice to see that. USB-C on the iPad, good to see that. Of course, I'm sure you're gonna get some stickers, some tips on how to use the iPad, I guess. Yeah, welcome to iPad, cool. What else we got in here? Definitely not a user manual. Hey, where's my... No more stickers? Or maybe Sheila took the stickers out already. Leave in the comments, did the iPad come with stickers, or did we get gypped here? So let's go ahead and move this aside, and let's get to the main event here. Like I said, Apple loves to use their eco-friendly stuff to protect their devices. And yeah, here we go. Boom. The back of the iPad. And then we have the front of the iPad. Got a good looking screen compared to brightness difference between I guess you can't really tell. I can tell just looking at it. I mean, the Lenovo is fine, but the iPad is way brighter. The screen is just way nicer overall. Obviously, it's got the liquid retina display. This has just got your standard LED display, I think. This is $90, open box. It's just your standard Android tablet, right? But it's got a look okay looking back here. It's got a camera. A lot of these tablets have taken their industrial design inspiration from the iPad, of course. Single lens camera, buttons on the side, smart dot connector, or whatever they call it. Beautiful industrial design, works great. It's almost like an extension of your hand, but I don't know. It's when you already have a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air and an iPhone 14 Pro, or well, if you have the newer version, the iPhone whatever 16, 17, 16 Pro, whatever. You have your MacBook Pro in front of you. You have your iPhone in your hand. What's the point of the tablet? I mean, yes, it's the bigger screen. It's a device to watch videos. The phone can do that. My laptop can do that. For me, this is just for me. It's the conundrum of where does the iPad fit in my life? And thus far, I can't figure that out. And that's why I don't have any iPads anymore. It just doesn't fit in with my life now. With Sheila, with hers, absolutely. She has. I gave her my old MacBook Pro, my M1, my first M1. She hardly uses that, and you know that's fine. That's the thing. Depending on you, depending on the way you work, depending on the way you live, the iPad or the MacBook Pro, or well, really just the laptop. There's room for one of those in everyone's life. But there's not room for both of them in everyone's life. And like, for instance, for Sheila, what she needs to do, the iPad and the iPhone combination, that seems to work great for her. For me, the laptop combo with the cell phone combo, yeah, that works better for me. And like I have this Lenovo here, but I don't really use this all that much either. I only bought this one because when I was buying my new car, because I wanted to have the big web browser so I could go on CarEdge to do my research while I was at the dealership waiting for things. Kind of like a little bit of a tactic so that the salespersons, they could see that I was doing research, things like that. It didn't even really come into play because I did the majority of my negotiation on over the phone and over text. So this really hasn't been all that useful to me. That's just me. Your mileage will definitely vary compared to mine. But you know, I digress. Let's talk about the iPad. The thing that's nice about the iPad is you touch your content, you touch what you're creating, you touch what you're doing. And it also is compatible with the Apple Pencil, which I forgot to borrow from Sheila, so I don't have an Apple Pencil. But yeah, that is the one thing I do appreciate. I kind of wish Apple would go hybrid with their laptops so you can get the best of both worlds. For whatever reason, they continue to be against that, which, whatever, that's their prerogative. For me, I mean, the mouse and keyboard is still superior to touch and pencil as it relates to like video editing, but that's just my workflow. So, but it would be nice to have the option someday. So come on, Apple. But yeah, just, you know, you could touch, you know, the YouTube, you touch it. GarageBand, that's definitely a place where touch interface definitely excels. Let me go ahead and load this up. So for instance, I want to bust out some drums. Let's get some acoustic drums. And yeah, and you could just, and you know, it's that touch, the feel, the fabric of our lives, right? To be able to touch your content is very special. My favorite one here on GarageBand was always more of the live loops. Here we go. Or you could literally create your own music here. So like, for instance, we go ahead and do a loop. Just go ahead and drop a beat there. Gonna add some, what do we want to add? And just like that, it's so simple to create something that sounds decent, as long as you match the bars and everything. I mean, that's something that you really only get here on a tablet kind of device. you touch your music, you touch your creation. So definitely appreciate that. But like beyond like that, I mean, for me at least, like it's not all that. It just doesn't fit my workflow, doesn't fit my life, unfortunately. What I really want is Adobe Premiere Touch or something where I can be editing and move in between my laptop and move here on an iPad or an iPad Pro. That would be a game changer for me. I'm a big user of InDesign, so I would love to see some sort of InDesign. I mean, there's Adobe Illustrator, there's Adobe Photoshop. I dabbled into those when I had my, iPad Pro. But as it relates to my desktop publishing application use, that's InDesign. I think really for me, for my use case, what I need to get me back into an iPad form factor, I need Adobe Premiere and I need Adobe InDesign. That's primarily what I'm using. I do a little bit of Photoshop, but primarily my thumbnails are actually made in InDesign and all my editing is done on Adobe Premiere. I do photography, of course. Lightroom's already pretty good on iOS in general. I do the majority of my editing here on the iPhone 14 Pro. It's hard for me because the iPads are getting there. They're just not there enough for me to switch me over from a laptop back onto an iPad. You got LumaFusion for video editing. That was a great program. It worked very well. I actually did a lot of videos here on the YouTube channel through LumaFusion, but eventually got to the point where what I wanted to do is just too slow. Also, my iPad Pro 2017 did not have USB-C. It had Lightning, and with Lightning you could not edit directly off of a hard drive or an SSD. One cool thing is, with it having USB-C, you can connect a keyboard directly to it. Let's find out. So you can see from the top down, I got my Keychron keyboard here. So yeah, and yeah, it's just like working on a Mac. So it's just like working on a Mac here. So yeah, so that's really cool here on the iPad A16. Overall, very good tablet. You know, it's iOS, it's iPad OS. You're gonna have the best compatibility as it relates to apps. With the USB-C port down here, you're gonna have good access to a wide array of accessories from mice, keyboards, SSDs, hard drive. Well, I guess you could convert a hard drive over to USB-C, but I don't know why you would. But yeah, storage options, hubs. With the A16 processor, it's a good solid base foundation. It's definitely gonna be able to hold its own for maybe some basic content creation, basic editing on some Adobe apps, content consumption, obviously. This form factor is timeless. It is also the same form factor as, I want to say, the iPad Pro 2018, so there is that, for better or for worse. I mean, like I said, the industrial design is just excellent. These are good looking tablets, and I just noticed this. Obviously, I haven't had one of these in quite a while. I guess the camera is now here. So I'm used to the iPads having the camera up here, right? You hold it like that, you do your FaceTime like that. Apparently, the camera is now here. So, that's new. But yeah, overall, good weight, good feel. So one thing that people do criticize are the bezels. So for whatever reason, we've gotten to the point where everyone wants thin bezels on their devices. Thinner's better, Well, I drove a Pontiac. Pontiac, wide track, wider is better. But really, yes, it does have noticeable bezels, but I don't actually mind the bezels. I don't actually like the edge-to-edge design. Primarily because when I pick up my phone, more often than not, when I pick it up, my finger just touches the edge here and it does something. So like if I have a YouTube video playing, but it's not full screen, and I pick it up like here, it goes to the next video, or it hits the ad. Here on the iPad, much thicker bezels. Here, I got some buffer here on the edges to kind of hold the device and not worry about it doing things when I'm just holding it like here. I'm in the minority. I don't really give a about the edge-to-edge design. I kind of prefer to not have the edge-to-edge design. Does it look cool? Yes. Does it look more modern? Yes. Is this more functional? Absolutely. It's a real shame I didn't ask Sheila for her Apple Pencil. No, it isn't, because her Apple Pencil is the Gen 1. Oh, so that is the oddity of this one. So this is a USB-C port here, right? The Apple Pencils that we have, that I had, and that now Sheila has, they're the Gen 1 iPad pencils. They use a Lightning connector. So you got to use a Lightning to C adapter to be able to pair it with this iPad, because this iPad can only pair with the USB-C device. The problem is they make some USB-C pencils, but they don't all work here on the iPad A16. The Apple Pencil 2, I believe that does not work. The Apple Pencil 1 revision 2 that uses USB-C, that one does work, I believe. But yeah, you can't use any of the fancier Apple Pencils, which is such a shame because there's so much more features in terms of those. The pencil situation is a little bit of a cluster. But yeah, so that was just my quick look here at my sweetheart's iPad A16. Beautiful device, great for content consumption, and I'm sure it'll be fine for some basic content creation. But for me, for what I do, unfortunately, there really just isn't a place for iPad in my life as of right now. As I mentioned before, things that can make that change: better support for Adobe applications that are desktop level, primarily Adobe Premiere and Adobe InDesign. I'm probably gonna want more USB-C ports. My mouse is USB-C, and I do like that mouse. And obviously SSDs, I edit straight off SSDs, so I'm gonna need more USB-C ports. Other than that, yeah, I mean, I really do think that once Apple figures out the iOS situation, the iPad OS situation, to make it maybe compatible with Mac OS, or to really incentivize companies like Adobe to create true desktop level apps for iPad OS, iOS, that'll then be the time when probably gonna be ready to come back to the iPad ecosystem. But until then, MacBook Pro is king, MacBook Air is king, mouse and keyboard are king. So that's the way it is. Alrighty, that was a quick look here at the iPad A16, and with that, catch you all on the flip.